Welcome to Shattering Story Collection, where we follow the gripping, dark fantasy tales of individuals in the world of Aostra. Meet countless individuals from all walks of life facing internal and external darkness and monsters. Join us for thrilling, episodic and short stories that showcase bravery and resilience to the pressures of life. Subscribe now for captivating original narratives that will leave a lasting impact.
Chapter 5 of the story, Vengeance Embrace, by David Baez. As Ulrich remained captive aboard the Viking dragon ship, the night was long and harrowing for all the children. Exhaustion overcame them, and they started dozing off one by one. In that fragile moment, Runa opened up about her feelings toward the village they left behind.
You know, I plan to leave the village,
Runa said, surprising Ulrich out of his sleep.
Our village was full and repetitive because nothing interesting ever happened. I felt like I was swimming upstream in a stagnant river, bound to do the same thing until I died.
Runa confessed.
And what is wrong with the peace we had in the village?
Ulrich obviously cherished the village and everything it represented.
Anyways, you got your wish, now there is no village, and we are all on a much bigger river, whether we like it or not.
Hearing this, Runa's eyes welled up with tears. Realizing the impact of his words, Ulrich offered her a warm hug.
I'm sorry, Runa.
Ulrich sincerely apologizes for his unintended insensitivity. The weight of their experiences silenced them, and in that solemn moment, they found solace in each other's presence.
If you plan to leave the village, then why you asked me to look for you in the Festival of Lanterns?
Runa blushed crimson red.
I was hoping you would have gone with me,
Runa confessed, taking a peek at Ulrich's reaction. Ulrich smiled, thinking of such a thought.
I think I would have gone with you,
Ulrich admitted as he offered his hand. His smile then vanished as his mind wondered if he believed he would have gone with Runa. Runa smiled momentarily until she noticed the large man glancing at them with a smile. Creeped out, Runa let go of Ulrich, and they both gave the hulking Viking a nasty look which only made him chuckle. As the gentle waves lapped against the sides of the longship, a mysterious and alluring melody began to fill the air. The children on board turned their heads, trying to trace the source of this magical music. Among them, Ulrich and Runa exchanged puzzled glances, wondering how such captivating sounds could arise in the middle of the boundless sea, seemingly with no one playing. A curious voice broke the silence.
Who's playing music?
One of Ulrich's friends asked.
Sounds like father's playing.
A young girl gasped, studying all of the Vikings' hands.
I hear it too,
Runa said, turning towards the vast sea.
Papa?
Yeah.
Ulrich agreed, gazing in the same direction as Runa.
It's my father too.
The melody swelled, growing louder and more ethereal, weaving its way into the hearts of the young captives. Unable to resist the pull of the entrancing music, Ulrich found himself rising from his seat, drawn to the edge of the longship as if by an invisible force. The large man, brandishing his battle axe, snapped at the children.
Sit back down before I feed you to my axe.
The large man laughed, but the children did not budge. Ulrich was jerked by the collar and forced to sit down, but his blank stare bothered the large man. It is as if Ulrich is unaware of anything and lost in his mind as his body moves on its own. Ulrich's pupil suddenly vanished, which scared the large man to let go of Ulrich. The boy stood up and walked to the edge with the other children.
My Jarl, something is wrong with the children.
The large man shouted. The Jarl, the commanding figure of the Viking crew, turned to see what had captivated the children's attention as they spoke of music. As he tried to comprehend the source of the problem, he was about to shout out an order until he noticed that even his female crew members were caught in the same spell, standing in awe and wonder alongside the children. Jarl studied the direction the women and children desperately wanted to reach, only to see the vast ocean and the loud ocean air blowing. Worried for their safety, the Jarl urgently ordered,
Get everyone back to their seats, tie them all up if you have to.
The large man, attempting to maintain order, pulled the female Vikings back.
Your Jarl gave you an order, bring everyone back to their seat.
However, the Jarl quickly realized that his attempts were futile, for the music had ensnared the women and children in its enchantment, rendering his words unheard.
I said, all men pull the women and children back.
The Jarl shouted as he pulled his hood back, revealing his dark blonde beaded hair and scars on one side of his face.
Stop wasting time and pull them away. They have been bewitched.
The Jarl snapped as he began to pull his female crew away from the edge. The large man quickly did as the Jarl did.
What could have bewitched them for them to have such strength?
The large man asked, pushing the children away from the edge with his long muscular arms. But the children would climb on the large man like ants. The Jarl stood silent, pondering the many creatures, beasts, and monsters he had encountered.
There's only one in the region, but it's impossible,
he concluded. As the melody continued to swell, filling the air with its mysterious power, the women and children's curiosity and wonder only intensified, making it harder on the men. It was as if the music had woven an unbreakable bond, guiding them toward a secret yet wondrous destination underneath the waves. Jarl's sharp instincts kicked in when he noticed women and children heading toward one side of the ship.
Don't let the women and children fall over, pull them back.
The Jarl shouted, seeing the crowd of women and children rushing to the other side of the dragon ship as he struggled himself with one female crewman. His heart sank as he saw his archer commander on the other dragon ship, along with women and children dropping into the sea. Panic surged as he witnessed the women and children on his dragon ship following suit, jumping overboard and taking some men with them. Reacting swiftly, the Jarl shouted at his men to cut the children's ropes before they drowned. Some brave souls leaped into action, diving into the churning waters to save the young ones. However, as they did so, the dragon ship began to rock violently, adding to the chaos of the situation.
Thank you for joining us. If you're enjoying the story, we'd greatly appreciate your support through subscribing to the channel. Your subscription will help us improve and bring more amazing content. Now, let's dive back into the captivating tale.
Amidst the turmoil, a mesmerizing being emerged from the water, a humanoid spirit-like man wielding a hardanger fiddle resembling an attractive, athletically built man with his luminous skin, blue eyes, and flowing white hair. He exuded an ethereal aura. This enigmatic being, known as a Fosgrim, was said to reside in waterfalls and rivers, not the open sea. He rode the icy water around the dragon ships, taunting the Viking men with a wink and a smile as he played his powerful instrument. As the Fosgrim played his virtuoso music, enticing the women and children to jump into the sea, the large man on the dragon ship grew annoyed and launched a spear at the water spirit. It pierces through the mystical being, and instead of flesh and blood, it is like a spear piercing through water. In a remarkable display of the body's innate resilience, his wound gradually begins to heal, seemingly on its own accord like water. The Fosgrim's face changed in response, the Fosgrim's music turned violent, and suddenly, the children that jumped off the ship, including Ulrich, broke free from their ropes, displaying unexpected strength as they pulled the Viking men from the dragon ships into the sea. In an astonishing transformation, the Fosgrim appeared as a terrifying troll once his feet walked on the dragon ship. Some Viking men readied their weapons and fought the Fiddler. However, their attack seemed to have no effect, and the Fosgrim's skin now was armored scales, a substance as elusive as the metal itself. With his vast knowledge, the Jarl ordered the large man to strike the Fosgrim with the flat end of his battle axe, knowing that such a creature should not be in salt water. The decisive blow caused the Fosgrim to stumble back into the ocean, revealing only half of his face, watery and distorted as it transformed back to its water spirit form.
What is a Fosgrim doing here?
This must be why we're the only fools raiding during the winter solstice.
The Jarl blamed the winter solstice, a time when mystical beings behaved unnaturally. He thought it was a farce, but this was a hell of a way to be proven wrong. With a burst of power and a breathtaking leap, the Fosgrim emerged from the ocean's depths, the seawater carrying him gracefully over the dragon ships. His ethereal figure commanded a sense of authority as he extended his arms, seemingly prepared to unleash the mighty force of the sea to engulf the two ships with a single wave of his hand. Jarl's heart pounded as he urgently shouted to his men.
Brace yourselves.
Instructing them to brace for the impending catastrophic blow. Yet, surprisingly, the anticipated devastation did not materialize. The Fosgrim remained motionless, frozen in fear that clashed starkly with his earlier confidence. Amidst the tension and confusion, the Jarl glanced up at the Fosgrim, sensing that something had unnerved this enigmatic being of water and music. The Fosgrim's luminous eyes reflected a mix of emotions, fear, uncertainty, and perhaps even regret. The sea around the Fosgrim remained calm and undisturbed as the seconds ticked. It was as if the vast ocean held its breath, mirroring the Fosgrim's hesitation. But there was still something unsettling about the Fosgrim's presence, a sense of unease that sent shivers down the spines of those witnessing him. Suddenly, the Fosgrim vanished into the sea with swift agility, his form fading away as if carried by the ocean's embrace. The Jarl's heart raced, pondering what could have terrified a near godlike being like the Fosgrim. As the enchanting trance lifted, the women and children slowly regained control of their minds and bodies, their confusion evident in their expressions. They were adrift on the icy sea, wondering how they ended up floating on the frigid waters. Runa shivered uncontrollably, her teeth chattering from the biting cold among them. Ulrich, ever vigilant, noticed the Vikings working diligently to bring everyone back into the safety of the dragon ships. Determined to help his friend, he swam towards Runa, extending a helping hand to pull her towards the Vikings, who lifted her back onto the ship. Still in the water, Ulrich's heart sank as he surveyed the scene, spotting the motionless bodies of some of his friends floating lifelessly in the water. The realization of the loss struck him like a heavy blow. Ulrich could not identify what took their lives since so many children survived. Ulrich felt the numbing sensation creeping into his limbs as the chilling waters began to take their toll. He knew he had to act quickly before he, too, succumbed to the icy grasp of the sea. Summoning all his strength, he reached out to his captors on the dragon ship, signaling to be pulled back to safety. Runa's heart-wrenching cry echoed through the air as she spotted her dear friend among the frozen bodies. Overwhelmed with grief and shock, she clung to Ulrich, tears streaming down her cheeks and her body still trembling from the cold. Once safely back on the dragon ship, Runa held Ulrich close, finding solace in each other's embrace. They cried for their fallen friends, mourning the loss of those who had been taken away so suddenly. As the chaos of the previous encounter subsided, most of the children reluctantly returned to their seats, and the women Vikings resumed their positions, preparing to continue their voyage. However, Jarl's face betrayed a sense of disappointment, his mind clouded with thoughts of lost profits due to the unfortunate loss of young lives. Just as the atmosphere seemed to settle, a sudden change in lighting caught everyone's attention. A colossal shadow loomed overhead, blocking out the sun's rays. All heads turned in unison, their eyes widening in awe and fear at the sight before them. Towering above the dragon ship, gigantic cephalopod-like tentacles rose, stretching several meters into the sky. Ulrich's heart pounded in his chest, never before having witnessed such a monstrous creature or thought such a monster could ever be real. The Jarl's voice rang out urgently, breaking the tense silence.
Everyone jump.
Jarl pushed whoever into the water, recognizing the grave danger posed by this enormous, unknown entity. Fear gripped the crew and passengers as they scrambled to follow the Jarl's command, seeking refuge in the frigid waters below. In this jaw-dropping moment, the sea around them transformed into a realm of wonder and terror. The mysterious presence of the colossal cephalopod sent shivers down the spines of all who beheld it, dwarfing the dragon ship and everything on board with its massive, writhing tentacles. With adrenaline pumping through his veins, Ulrich swam with all his might, urging Runa to stay ahead of him as they distanced themselves from the doomed dragon ships. Panic and fear filled the air as everyone swam as fast as they could, seeking safety from the colossal tentacles that dropped onto the vessels like devastating cannon fire, tearing them apart. The deafening boom echoed in their ears, leaving everyone disoriented, while a massive wave pushed them further away from the scene of destruction. Beneath them, a shadowy figure lingered like an arm beneath tiny ants. The archer commander urgently alerted the Jarl to some ominous presence lurking in the depths of the ocean.
We will not be able to outswim the Kraken like this, Jarl.
The archer commander shouted. The Jarl's keen eyes spotted an island not too far away, a glimmer of hope amidst the chaos.
Everyone, swim to the island, and grab all the products you can.
He bellowed at everyone as he swam to the island, a potential sanctuary from the perilous waters. Ulrich, driven by determination and the instinct to protect Runa, pushed himself to reach the island as quickly as possible. Runa began to slow down as Ulrich had no choice but to hold on to her. He noticed Runa's condition worsening, a piece of wood lodged in her leg, and the sea's cold taking its toll.
Leave her behind, or you'll both die.
The large man insisted, noticing Ulrich falling behind. Ulrich refused to abandon the girl he liked, held on to Runa with all his strength, and forced his other arm to continue thrusting forward against the cold waves. The gigantic tentacle struck again, wrapping around the two dragon ship's pieces and pulling them down into the unforgiving depth. The rest of the ship's debris was scattered in every direction. Ulrich found himself too far behind, his body weakened by the icy sea and the relentless currents created by the tentacles pulling him back. With determination in his eyes, Ulrich clutched onto a piece of debris and kicked his legs with all his might, ensuring that Runa's face remained above the water. He refused to let the unforgiving waves submerge her, even though he was falling behind. He continued to kick and push forward with every ounce of strength, driven by the need to keep her safe, no matter the cost. The adrenaline surged through him, propelling him on despite the exhaustion and the seemingly insurmountable odds. Yet, even as his body begged for rest and air, Ulrich refused to give up. He kept pushing himself forward with sheer determination, willing his body to keep going. Just as he felt himself succumbing to the water's embrace, a hand reached out to him, pulling him up from the clutches of the deep. Runa's two brothers and some children, his fellow survivors, extended a helping hand and rescued him along with Runa. They hauled them out of the water and onto the island's safety. Seeing the immense loss suffered, the Jarl directed his crewmen to aid the survivors, knowing they had already endured so much.
Enjoyed this episode? Check out the next episode or our collection of short stories. Support us by subscribing, liking, and ringing the bell icon. Comment and suggestions are welcome in the comment section below. Thank you for being a part of our storytelling adventure. Explore Mythtastical World, our Etsy store filled with enchanting merchandise inspired by the magical realm of fantasy. Discover delightful products celebrating mythical creatures, epic adventures, and fantastical landscapes. Head to the description section for the link and other links. Embark on a journey of imagination with our whimsical creations.